All right, you guys, we are live. We are live on our Tuesday night Q&A. If you guys have any questions, let us know. We didn't get a lot of questions in this week. And so I think we got one or two. So we'll go ahead and answer them. But if you guys have any questions now, comments, concerns, anything like that, just let us know. I will tell you guys that the market is ripe for opportunity. I just got off a call with one of our Asian investors, negotiating a property in DC where the lady's selling a house for 480. It's close to Capitol Hill, and my agent put the property under contract, but to be honest, really doesn't have much money. And so they wanted me to negotiate a deal where a creative financing deal where the seller would hold financing. And so seller owns the property free and clear. And so here's how I approached this. Um, I first asked the seller why she wanted to sell the property, and she said she wanted to get her mother out of the property. Property needed a lot of repairs, and they needed enough money for the mother to buy another property. And so I asked, how much is that? And she said, I think she said 100. I think she said, I think I have the notes here. I think she said 130,000, something like that, 130,000. Her mother needed to close on a property um, on the 22nd of this month. And so, okay, so in my mind, okay, she needs 120,000. Anything else? I asked, and she said, yeah. She, in order to qualify, her mother needed to pay off, um, I think it was $50,000 in credit card debt, which she borrowed that money from someone else, and she needed to pay them back. And so I got that number. So let's just say, let me redo the numbers because I can't remember. I think it was one. I should have it right here. Oh, here it is. Yes, 130. So 130 she needed for her house, and she needed 20,000 to pay off that debt for the credit card. So 150. So out of the 480, right now she only needed 150. And so I said, what if we were to give you the 150 now, and then you take back a note that will pay off in a year? And we'll make monthly payments. So you'll receive money every single month. I said to her, it's really tough for investors to get financing now, that interest rates are high. And this is probably the best we can do. I know that you need to buy the property on the 22nd. Time is of the essence. Let's go. Let's get this contract signed. And basically, I'll know really tomorrow, but it seems like she's going to move forward with that deal. So I'm saying we, but it's really my investor, my agent, is going to come up. He's going to get a note for. I think he's going to get a hard money loan for the 150, and then have her hold the note for the rest, which is 330. And so she'll get the money. It's either a private lender or a hard money lender that will pay the 150, and then they'll pay. We'll work out the terms of the seller financing. Hopefully, we'll amortize it over 30 years. Hopefully, somewhere around 3 or 4%. But what I'll probably do is ask them, well, or how much money do you need every month? You can approach those things any kind of way you want. It doesn't have to be an interest rate. You can just decide on maybe even what is your monthly payment where you're moving to, and then maybe that's the payment if it's low enough. And so that could be the payment, and that payment goes towards paying off this debt of 330. Now I said a year, but it might need to be extended. But I said a year because what my agent's going to do is renovate that property and make it more valuable, and then in a year refinance and then pay them off. But just in case it takes longer, I may need to try to get them to extend it. And so that's a case of seller financing, which we're doing. I'm negotiating these deals for myself and for investors almost every single day. And that's something that I want you guys to learn. I'm going to be hosting a class, a 3-day class, virtual course on. I don't have the dates in front of me. You know the dates, Keith?
I think it's one of the
Let me just look at
the 16th, 17th, and 18th, I believe, after Martin Luther King holiday.
Yeah, you guys will get the email. I think it's the week later, where I'm going to be going over for those 3 days, wholesaling, creative financing, like I just talked about, and also how to force cash flow on your buy and holds. So we're talking midterm rentals. We're talking travel nurse investing and other programs that I've been talking about. So that's what we'll be talking about on those 3 days. And so that's just one example of what I've been working on. I've also been working on some land. Someone that I know referred me to 3 acres in Brandywine. And so I went and took a look at those 3 acres on Sunday. And it's wooded. It's got a lot of trees or timber on them. And so if I'm able to negotiate a similar deal where she holds the financing, and then I eventually pay her off probably in 2 years, I will buy the 5 acres. It's like 5.2 acres. And so I'm interested in it because I see a lot of potential. I can have the trees cut down and sell off the timber. And that will basically pay hopefully enough to pay the note, or hopefully pay her off for the timber, just the timber alone. And then I'll level the land. And it's sort of in a rural part of Brandywine, right off of Branch Avenue. And so part of the day on Sunday night, I did a bunch of research on the highest and best use for that land. I just did my own research. I'm looking for my notes. And so I've got my notes somewhere. And so I looked up cell tower, renting to a cell tower, but that's just a small space you need for a cell tower. I looked up a solar, I think it's called a solar field, where you could put solar panels. I looked up RV storage. What I came up with though for that land, because I want cash flow. I'm obsessed with creating cash flow and passive income. What I've come up with, you guys won't think I'm crazy, but what I've come up with is a mobile home park. And so then that led me to researching mobile home parks. And so if on these 5 acres, I believe I can get to about if I put quarter acre lots, which they don't have to be that big, I can get about 20 mobile homes. A double wide, I never thought I'd be saying the word in discussing double wides, but I can get a used double wide for like $30,000 or $40,000, and they're sold everywhere. And so if I can level the lots, put septic tanks there, I can connect. It's the land is perked, but I think I can connect to public water, not public sewer, but water. There's houses around. I could rent those properties out for. I could rent out the 3 bedrooms for around $3,000, in the 4 bedrooms in that area for about $4,000. And my initial plans now is to I don't know, we'll see where that goes, but those are just some things that I'm working on. that's a long-term play, maybe 5 years, but let's say it all works out and and that plan goes through, once I get that up and running, like that's the legacy. That's the retirement plan
So,
right
Greg,
there.
what type of tenants would you consider hosting in those properties?
So that's a good question. I don't I've shied away from like Section 8 and market rate, definitely not market rate tenants. But the answer to your question is I don't know right now. I don't know. I don't know if I put I could and maybe get a little more, put like battered women there. I don't know. I was just thinking that maybe I'll just put, maybe voucher holders there. I don't know yet. My preference is not to do that. I'd like to force cash flow by doing a program. I don't know. I don't know if Candace is on here, but I don't know that I can do travel nurses in a mobile home. I'm sure I can. I was even thinking about, you guys have seen the tiny homes. So tiny homes or the what are those containers? I don't know if any of you guys go to the chat or to the comment section. Those container homes are really nice. But I was thinking mobile homes. I do like the containers. One of our agents did you hear the conversation that Terrence was having at Harry's Happy Hour?
A little bit of it. A little bit of it, yeah. Is that what he's moving on to or considering?
He's considering containers, and so he's got about 20 or more acres in a rural part of Virginia,
I heard that, yeah.
and he's going to put container homes on there. But I think that the mobile homes are a lot cheaper. And so I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what type of tenants I would put there. I don't want a mobile home park where I would just rent out the lots, which is easier. I want the cash flow. So I want to have the trees cut down, level a lot, and prepare each lot for, I'm thinking a double wide on there. There's triple wides too, but like a double wide. Candace is saying if you make it fancy enough, travel professionals might like it. So that's good to know, because it's right off of Branch Avenue, so that Southern Maryland Hospital is like 3 miles away. I don't know that there's any other hospitals, but definitely professionals. And so maybe I would love to do something like that where I could really force that cash flow. But yeah, I would really love that. Alice is saying that the containers are really nice. I've seen the containers, and yes, they do make them really, really nice. The book that Yvette, the book that I'm reading is right on my desk, right here, called 30-Day Stay, and it's for like travel nurses. And what I like about this book, 30-Day Stay, is it talks about, it's a book about midterm rentals. And you guys know that I've been talking about midterm rentals a lot. It talks about midterm rentals. It's a book about how to do midterm rentals. So it talks a lot about travel, medical professionals, and just regular professional people who are, coming through a certain area, staying for 90 days, 60 days, and you can get double or triple your cash flow. That's basically what it is. But what I also like about it is the two women who wrote the book, their passion is travel. So they like traveling to different countries. One has been to 47 different countries. The other's been to they compete on who's going. And what they like about the midterm rentals is they can manage their properties, and they have a number of properties from their phone, and their rental properties, their passive income is helping to finance their lifestyle. And for them, their lifestyle, I mentioned this to you guys today, right, Keith?
Yeah.
A little bit when we was talking to Kaylin.
Right.
But their lifestyle is travel. Like they love to travel and they love going places, seeing things, and they can be in a different country and manage their whole portfolio of midterm rentals, all their properties from wherever they are, basically from a computer, from booking appointments to clean out, getting the cleaner to come in, all of that. And then the whole system of midterm rentals is all, it's apps, and like you're using Furnish Finders. They're paying through different apps. Candace can probably speak to that. But their twist on this whole thing is the ability to travel, to being in other countries. We talked to our VA today, who does a lot of our social media funnels, sales funnels, and he spends the winter months in Mexico, in the summer months in Canada. He's an American, but he does that kind of traveling, and he's been doing that. We've been working with Kaylin for 3 or 4 years now, and that's what he does. And I don't know about the real estate side of what Kaylin does. We just know him as our IT person. But I'm assuming that, I don't know if he owns those properties. Maybe he's just traveling and almost like a professional traveling, staying in different places. But what I like about this book is they put a travel twist on it, and it's infectious. It's infectious. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but it draws you in. It's like, okay, I need to get some more rental properties so I can travel the world and let my real estate finance my life. And I think that's why we're all here today, is because we need and want the passive income so we can live our best life. And so we buy a property and buy that property right, pay it down and pay it off. Obviously, we're getting that we're getting the tenants to pay the properties off, but we're forcing the cash flow. And so Iris, maybe I'll type it in, but it's called 30-day stay. It's called 30-day stay. This is it right here. 30-day stay. And so that's why we're here. Actually, Iris is doing it. She doesn't even know she's doing it. She's has a program with I don't know what it is. I think Iris is I don't know if it's veterans. It's one
veterans and I believe it's veteran and battered women.
Oh, is that right? She's doing both?
Yeah.
Okay. And so but what Iris is doing, and a few others that are on here, they're doubling their cash flow by what they're doing is renting rooms. I think Iris is still renting rooms. And so they're getting double or triple, really triple the cash flow. And so these are some of the things that I want you guys to start thinking about. She's doing Section 8, she says, also in Baltimore. Is what can you do? What can you learn so that you can get cash flow, so that cash flow, that passive income, can finance your best life. And so for me personally, I'm trying to continue every year, to build my cash flow and my passive income, so that I can do all the types of traveling and doing all the types of things that I want. And my properties are financing all that, living my best life. I don't know that I want to say one day that I've been to 47 countries. That's just not me. But I know that's probably you, Keith, because you've been to a lot of countries with, how we grew up in the military, and then you spent a lot of time in the military. So you've been to a lot of countries. I have too, but I don't know if it's my goal to have 47.
No, I don't need that either.
I thought you would like that. No,
maybe half of that, but not 40 something.
But real estate, you guys, real estate can get you there. It can get you honestly to wherever you want to be. I was watching a football game last night, Michigan and Washington, and to my dismay and disappointment, Michigan won because I'm a big Ohio State fan. But as I was watching the game, I said, next year, I don't care where the game is, I don't care who's playing in that game, I'm going to be at that game. And so that's one of the things that I've always wanted to do. I've gone to some big games, I've gone to some bowl games and things like that, but I want to go to every one. And now I'm a sports fanatic. And so I want my real estate passive income. Obviously, I make money from my businesses to help finance those things. I mean, I could have been there last night, but I said, you know what? I'm going next year. And even if Michigan is in it again, I'm going to be there rooting against Michigan. Although my hope is that Ohio State's in it next year. But and so I normally follow Ohio State. Wherever their bowl game is where I go. And so, but I want more of that. And that's just me, my lifestyle. What is your lifestyle? Somebody put in the chat, in the comment, what is your lifestyle? Like if you could have enough passive income from your rental properties, what's the one thing that you would like to do or continuously do so that passive income can finance that lifestyle? These two girls who wrote this book, their passion is travel, helps them do more traveling to different countries. I'd like to go to more sporting events. You guys, what would you guys like to do? Put it in the comment section. We start with you, Keith. Where would you like to go or do?
I like I like Brazil a lot. It's a big country, so I would like to explore that even more.
Could you live there?
I could live there X number of months out the year, and then of course I would rent out my properties. I've never been out of my travels. I've never been to Europe. I've never been on the other side of the Atlantic. It's all been the Pacific. So I would be interested in going there and checking out those countries for starters.
Okay. I want you to live between here and Brazil is what I want for you.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
Yeah. Nice. Got to get going and get some deals done though. But yeah, that's maybe I'll update my vision board a little bit more with just some cities and countries in South America, in Brazil.
Yeah, I was looking. Harry's got a map in his office, and I was just looking at that. I was just fixated at his map today, and of course, South America is right there. And I was like, he would love to explore South America. You need to learn how to speak Spanish.
Yeah, I'm learning Portuguese, so I'm halfway there.
So we've got a lot of people who want to travel as well. I think you guys would get a lot out of this book because you guys can learn about midterm rentals, and they talk about their adventures, of travel and their excitement of travel. All right, but the bottom line is, get one property this year. Just get one. Just get one. Just get one property. And so we find a property. We have a certain model. And let me just go over this really quickly. Damn, it's 8:27 already. And so if we're doing, I'll just take midterm rentals, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be voucher holders. It could be residential assistant living facilities, whatever it is. You've got to have a model of a home that's perfect. And so for me right now with midterm rentals, it's 3 bedrooms, 3 full baths. That means I can get 3 or 4 bedrooms and 3 full baths. But let's just say it's 3 bedrooms, 3 full baths. I can get 3 travel professionals in that property, and they have their own bathroom. I believe, depending on where that property is, I can get between 1,500 and if it's nice, like really nice, I can get somewhere between 1,500, maybe at the highest 2,000 per room with professionals, giving them the coffee makers, what are they called, curators,
Curated.
having it decorated really, really nicely. I like to buy in B neighborhoods, so it's a B neighborhood where they can walk to restaurants and delis and things like that. And so my perfect home would be like a 3-bedroom, 3 full baths. That's like perfect for me. I'd like for it to be in Baltimore because I can buy that property inexpensively compared to DC, even though that property would appreciate better in DC. So I still love DC, but I'd get better cash flow because the rents, my mortgage payment would be a lot cheaper, a lot lower. And then I can rent to that travel professional. And if I'm able to get even 1,500 a room, that's $4,500. And let's just say my payment on the property would be somewhere around, let's just say $2,000. And so I'm making a $2,500 a month positive cash flow. Like, you can't beat that starting off. And so that's perfect for me. So if I find that property, but let's say I find it and I'm able to do some type of creative financing where I don't have to go out and get a mortgage, or at the very least, I do a lease option. And so I'll do a lease option where hopefully the monthly payment that I have to pay the homeowner is somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500. And so and it's my buy box, the 3-bedroom, 1 bath. I know I can get, without a shadow of a doubt, $4,500. I'm making $2,000 a month. So the 4,500 minus 25 that I owe out, I'm getting $2,000 a month. So we'll write a lease, and maybe let's just say it's a lease option. So we'll write a lease. We'll agree to the 2,500. We write the lease. In that lease, it has the option to sublet. I let them know, I'm totally transparent, letting them know what I plan to do with the property. I'm going to rent out to travel professionals. And so I sublet that a lease. In the lease, it's the right to sublet. Then hopefully, if they let me buy it, the right to buy, an option to buy. And so I like using 2 contracts with that, a rental contract and a purchase agreement on my lease options. If you don't buy the property, then we do a lease option if they allow it. And if they don't allow it, we do what's called a rental arbitrage, where we just rent it out and just get the cash flow without owning the property. We do that for a longer period of time. Hopefully 5 years, we can make upwards of close to $3,000 a month doing a rental arbitrage, where we just do like a master lease or corporate lease. So at any rate, we get under contract, then we make some small improvements to the property. Hopefully we buy properties that need little to no work. We're going to need to furnish. So these are all furnished properties that I'm talking about in terms of midterm rental. We want to furnish the properties. We want to do a lot of research on the areas. We want to give the travel professionals as much information about the area as possible, including like the restaurants that are closed, the hospitals that are closed, all those kinds of things. Because eventually we're going to need to put our property in, number one, furnishfinders.com, because we need to market the property. And so here's how we market the property. We put it in furnishfinders.com. We put it on Airbnb. We put it in Facebook Marketplace. Those are the top 3 places to put your property. We put them there. And then we can use the leases from those sites. They have their own lease. Now, if you do need a lease, you can always go to apartments.com to get a lease. I can give you a lease that we use on the realtor side, but getting a lease is easy. Matter of fact, if you go through Airbnb, they don't even use a lease. But Furnace Finders, they have their own lease, and so on and so forth. You get it. You market you put the property on one of those sites, and then and you put it on those sites at least a couple months ahead of when you want to actually rent the property out. You put it on one of those sites. Now, there's many other sites that you can put your properties on. Facebook is filled with like travel nurse groups on Facebook. I think one is like Travel Nurse Gypsy or something like that. So you can put it in those, but the top 3 places to market your properties for travel professionals is Furnace Finders, is Airbnb, and then Facebook Marketplace. And then you rent the property. Now, there's a lot of information. I'm skipping a whole lot, you guys, but there's information on how they get into the property. And so at your property, you're going to need like digital locks. You're going to control your own thermostat virtually, and so on and so forth. There's a whole lesson that I'll teach one day on how to furnish the property, what needs to be in the kitchen, what needs to be in the bathrooms, the starter kit you get them to start off with in terms of paper towels and toilet paper and maybe a little bit of cleaning. And then on the long, because it's a midterm rental, you just get them started, and then you don't have to keep supplying that stuff. They'll supply it for themselves. But that's the process. Those are the steps that you take for a midterm rental, similar to a short-term rental like an Airbnb. Those are basically the steps for that. Now, if you follow those steps and you get really good at it, now you're getting the ultimate goal, you guys, is to get a 5-star rating. And so all the sites have ratings. And so you want to make sure you get a 5-star rating, and even ask for a 5-star rating. So you can get a 5-star rating on like Furnace Finders, Airbnb. Airbnb has something called, somebody put in the comments section. It's called, I don't know what it's called. It's like a premier or super. I think it's called a super host. So they have a super host. Mm-hmm. And so if you can get on Airbnb super host status, that means people have, there's a criteria to become a super host. But like when I'm searching for Airbnb, and we do Airbnbs, I try to only rent rent from places that are super hosts, because it's a proven model. People have gone to these places and have loved it, given them 5-star reviews, and there's a couple other criteria for the super host. Like Leon is a super host. Yeah. And I remember when he became a super host with his property in Myrtle Beach, it was like he put it on Facebook. It was a big deal, because now that's guaranteeing you stays super host. And then that's it, you guys. And then you just do a good job communicating through email. Let them have your phone number in case something goes wrong. Give them instructions about the trash. It's a lot more to it, but that's basically the steps that are involved. There's many different ways to acquire these properties. You can do traditional financing. You can do creative financing, subject to seller financing, lease option that I talked about, a combination thereof. And then you can always just do a rental arbitrage where you never buy the property, but you do everything else that I just talked about, and you get to 2,000 or more Honestly, starting off even 1,000 a month in positive cash flow for a property that you've never bought, you didn't put up 20%. You're just leasing, you're just subletting it, letting it out. You want to do that as long as you can. You want to sign a 5-year master lease for that property. We call it rental arbitrage. Furnish Finders has an ebook that gives that information about furnishing. Okay. Iris is saying that. Okay. Thank you, Iris. Yeah, you can go to those sites. Like everything I'm saying, you can go to YouTube, and YouTube, but there's many people. Matter of fact, and then like Instagram, like I was following this girl named Sarah Weaver on Instagram. Sarah Weaver. I was just following her because it as she just came up my feed one day, and she's like doing a lot of midterm rentals. I said I'm gonna follow her, and then she started talking about a book she wrote, which never resonated with me. I started following her. Then I started following this other girl who said that she got like 80 she controls 80 properties in like a 2-year period, mainly doing the rental arbitrage, the master lease. And she learned it all from this book from Sarah Weaver. I said, you know what? I'm going to get that book. I heard Sarah talk about it. This girl said she learned everything that she knows from Sarah Weaver from her book. And I said, okay. So I got the book, and then I got the audio version as well. And so I just wanted to take you guys through sort of the steps that are involved in buying these properties, and honestly, any other property. I don't want any of you guys thinking that you don't have the cash, you don't have the credit, you don't have the debt to income ratio, whatever that is, that's going to keep you from buying a house this year. It's just so not true. The top Airbnb investors never ever buy the properties. They just control them and take advantage of the cash flow. Or like this girl who has 80 midterm rentals, probably less than 5 of them she's actually purchased herself, but she's taking advantage of that cash flow because she's mastered how to do the midterm rentals.
Greg, let me ask you a question real quick. I'm not sure who's on the call, but I'm sure that there's an investor out there that's still, we're after the holidays, we're past New Year's. They want to get started, not quite sure how to get started, how to get that push. What would you recommend as to where should they look for properties at? You've already kind of went over what to do once you have the property, but where should they be looking? What type of marketing could they be doing to get in front of people to have that conversation?
So that's a good question. And it just depends on what you're looking for. It depends on what your buy box, what we call your buy box. It depends on that. And so whatever it is that you're interested in, I'm particular about honestly just forcing cash flow, just having going past traditional rentals where like Section 8 and market rate tenants to I'm very interested in doubling the money that I would get from a market rate tenant. And so the answer to that for me is midterm rentals. Which part of that is renting rooms to professionals. That's what I'm interested in, because when you rent rooms to professionals, you're getting more money. And so for me to answer your question, in our area, and there's many other areas, but in our area, it's Baltimore. Now there's many other areas. I think one of the last calls, I got a bunch of notes on my desk, you guys. So I may or may not find what I'm looking for, but you want to be in an area where the cost of living is low, the price of real estate is low, where you want to be in a urban city where there's a lot of professionals, where there's a lot of where there's 10 or more hospitals. And so for me, for midterm rentals, that Baltimore here in our area is perfect for that. Let me see something real quick.
Yes, DC would be a good maybe alternative to Baltimore as well, right? The DC has what, 10, 11 hospitals also.
Yeah, so DC has the hospitals, but the cost of entry is a lot higher in Baltimore.
Right, right.
But the trade-off to that is you might get just a little bit less cash flow, but you're going to get an incredible amount of equity. And so some other areas, so Baltimore, just real quick, you guys. So Iris is asking the question, how far should you be from a hospital? And so they'll tell you should be within 20-minute drive or 3 to 5 miles, or within a 20-minute drive. But some nurses that I've talked to, I've got a niece that has done travel nurse, who is a travel nurse. Candace is a travel nurse, one of our coaching students. And what my niece told me was she's more interested in being closer to entertainment. So she doesn't mind like a 30-minute drive to a hospital if she can come home from work and walk to a restaurant, a bar, recreation, whatever that is. And so that's a B neighborhood. But they tell you, to answer your question, within a 20-minute drive. Baltimore has 16 hospitals. DC has 12. Richmond has 13 hospitals. Philadelphia has 19 hospitals. Pittsburgh has 14. And the list goes on and on. I can get you guys whatever information you want. But I just jotted this down for myself just in case I decided to expand outside of the area. But Baltimore fits the bill for midterm rentals because depending on the area, the travel professional is given a stipend. And believe it or not, the stipend is close to being the same as whether they're traveling to DC or Baltimore. I think DC, they get just a little more, but it's not that more significant, which means if your mortgage payment on a Baltimore house is much lower than on a DC house in the same, compared to in a B neighborhood, you're going to get better cash flow in Baltimore. And Baltimore still has, more hospitals than DC. It has 16 hospitals. And so all the areas in the B neighborhoods is where you want to be. And I'll go over at a different time what I consider in Baltimore the B neighborhoods. But you guys can just look at like Maryland. I think it's University of Maryland Hospital. Pigtown is like in walking distance. And so Pigtown, or in the MLS, is called Washington Village. I think it's 21230, I believe. It's either 21230 or 21231 is Washington Village. You can just Google Washington Village, Baltimore zip code. So Pigtown is perfect. And you're buying in Pigtown for around, if you want to renovate it, you're buying less than 200,000, like 150 if you want to renovate. ARV there is about 300, 350, something like that. So those are all great areas. Keith, before we run out of time, I think did you have like a question or two?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. First of all, Ralph, we did get your question. Greg is going to be doing a little bit more research on that document that you sent, just so you know, Ralph. Let's see what we got here. So, Greg, this question comes from Dana. And Dana's asking, Greg, how do we avoid capital gains tax after selling the property?
What quickly comes to my mind, Dana, is a 1031 exchange. And so you want to take that capital gain and make sure it's a true capital gain, because there's lots of things that you can write off, expenses that you can write off. So a true capital gain, but let's just say the capital gain is $100,000. You can take that $100,000 and put it onto another residential property, and you defer the capital gain. So that comes quickly to mind. A 1031 exchange is one of the best ways to defer the taxes. And then depending on how you finance the property, let's say you finance the property out of a solo 401k, then that capital gain comes back, and you're not paying any taxes on it, or those taxes are deferred also. There's many different write-offs that a lot of people just expense that money. One thing, so someone came in, I met with someone today, and he says he has $400,000 in equity in his house, and he said, should I take out a HELOC, a home equity line of credit? And I said, no, don't do that, because it's gonna, the interest rates are so high. But I said, if you had to pull money out, you could either do that, or you could get you could do a cash out refinance. And the reason why I said a cash out refinance is because, let's say he's able to pull out, he said he has 400,000 equity, but let's just say he pulls out half, 200,000 on that cash out refinance. That 200,000, Dana, that's not a capital gain, that's free money. And so you're not taxed on your own equity. So if you pull your own equity out, that's not a taxable event. And so it's tax-free money. And so I don't know, Dana, if you've talked to me about this or not. Oh, you did. You did talk to me about this. And so I don't know, having said that, you would want to just refinance and pull equity out where you're not paying any capital gain, or for the reasons you explained to me, maybe you still want to do that. But let's talk offline on some ways that you can, with different maybe write-offs, expenses, things like that, it'll reduce your capital gain. And then the last thing I would say is we've got some resources, some CPAs, some good. My accountant is real good, Marie. She could help you with that as well. Any other questions?
Didn't get any others that came in, Greg.
Okay. So look, you guys, this is the year. I mean, we got to take some action, and we've got to continue to learn. Like I said, I'm going to be teaching a class in about 2 weeks on everything I just talked about. But also, we can wholesale those properties too. You find a deal, you put it on the contract, and I'll help you put it on the contract as long as it makes sense. You can assign those deals to somebody else in our community. And so we're building our community, you guys. Contact us if you're not part of our private Facebook page, Bennett Boot Camps. What's it called?
Bennett Boot Camp's community page. So
we have a Bennett Boot Camp. It's free of charge, but we'll be having deals that we'll offer. There'll be private lenders that we're going to invite in there that wants to lend money to you guys. We had a private lender at our session on Saturday. Was that Saturday? No, Friday. It was Friday. And so
our office on Saturday too, that I was telling you about.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Right. Forgot about him. I need to write his name down. Don't say it. I don't want Dana to call him before I do.
Mhm.
So be a part of our private page, Bennett Boot Camps. You can go to Facebook, Bennett Boot Camps community page, and we'll see that you requested to be a part of it, and we'll okay. Or just let us know you want to be a part of it, and we'll send you a link. So Iris is asking, can you get a HELOC on a rental property? And I believe you can. I'll get you that. I'll get you that information. I'll write that down. I'll get you that information. Miss Iris, okay. All right. Anything else, Keith, that we need to discuss?
No, not tonight. I think we're good.
Okay. So look, you guys. Let's. We've got to take action. That's the biggest thing. We've got to have the right mindset. We've got to focus. You've got to know exactly what you want. Guy came in today. He told me exactly what he wanted, and his goal was to buy one property this year. And he told me exactly what he wanted. And I said, dude, you're going to get that. We'll make sure. Join our private page. Come to the training. He's already signed up for our training. Eventually, sign up for our coaching. And I will guarantee you that what you want, you will get. Because if I don't find it, somebody else in the community is going to find that and wholesale that deal to you. He wants one buy and hold. He wants one buy and hold. That's all he wants this year. And if that's what you guys want, and I hope you do, that buy and hold doesn't necessarily have to be you buy the property. You can do a lease option. One of the first properties that I purchased here in Maryland, I was investing in my 20s in DC, so I bought those. But one of the first properties that I moved into in Bowie, I did a 2-year lease option. Because at the time I wasn't ready. For me, it was it was a dream home for me at the time. And I did a lease option on that house. And because I was betting on myself that in 2 years I would be ready for that property, that Pine Tree Way, Keith. And I did a lease option for 2 years. And then after 2 years, I was ready and I bought that house. And I kept that house for about 14, 15 years until I bought the house that I'm in now. And so there's no shame on doing a lease option. There's actually no shame in doing a master lease or corporate lease on a property that you don't own, but you're getting what we call the rental arbitrage, where you're getting cash flow. There's nothing wrong with that. Because let's say that you're able to, on the rental arbitrage, you're able to do 3 or 4 of them, or even 2 of them this year. That's an extra $4,000 a month in passive income coming in. And then let's say eventually you're able to do 10. There's people who do, I told you the girl did 80 in 2 years. Can't imagine what her cash flow is. It's probably like 160,000 a month. And like I said, she probably only owns less than 5 of them, but she's making 6 figures a month and never has to worry about if the furnace breaks in, the 20% down she's going to have to make to buy the property. She never has to worry about that. So there's investors that would argue, they will argue with you that it's better to do a rental arbitrage than actually purchase the property. Now, for me, I'm trying to build generational wealth. And so for me, it works for me, but I still want to buy, so that I can take care of my daughter. But I will do a rental arbitrage in a second, a corporate lease in a hot minute. Iris is saying, surround yourself with like-minded people, attend meetups, and read Facebook posts. And I couldn't have said it better. So that's good. And so as a community, you guys, let's just come together. Let's keep coming together. We have I think it's next week. We have,
Saturday, January 20.
but we're also having like like is it
Mixer.
happy hour? Yeah, like a happy hour sometime this month as well.
Right.
I got to get the dates on that. So we're putting together events where you guys can come learn, but more importantly, network with each other. And so I'll have free food there. It's going to be at what's the hotel called?
Crown Plaza.
It's going to be at the Crown Plaza. Oh no, no, actually it's February the 1st, I think. I think it's the first Thursday in February. All right, you guys, that's all I have. If you don't have any other questions, that's 2024. Let's not let this year go by and we haven't done anything. If you want to meet with me, you can get me on social media. I'll put up my handle right here. You can always go to gbschedule.com. So DM me here, Greg Bennett Invest. That's Greg Bennett Invest. You can DM me. I'd love to sit down and meet with you guys. Or you could just go to any of my GB schedule or any of my social media. All right, you guys, take care. God bless, and we will talk to you guys soon. Good night.
You guys take care.